Good morning, students. Today I'll be teaching new lesson that is chapter 4, metals and non-metals. Okay, so this chapter comes under chemistry lesson. It's one of the chemistry lesson. What is chemistry? Chemistry is the study of matter, its properties, how and why substances combine or separate to form other substances, and how substances interact with energy. So these are the things we are learning in chemistry. So what is chemistry? Mainly the study of matter, its properties, how and why substances combine or separate to form other substances, mainly chemical reactions, and how the new substances are formed. All these things we are learning in this chapter. Clear? So in this chapter, you can see here some pictures. They given some metals and non-metals. But now if I am asking you to, can you differentiate or identify something, you cannot do that because you should know what are the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals. That is the thing we are going to learn in this chapter. Here you can see brass, aluminium, cast iron, bronze, steel, copper, metal sludge, many things you can see. So first you should learn the properties, then you can easily segregate into metals and non-metals. Here, same thing. You are familiar with a number of materials like iron. It's very common, iron nails. Our window, that is made up of iron. Then aluminum vessels, copper wire you can see inside the cable, etc. Can you name the materials which are metals? Metal can be distinguished from non-metals on the basis of their physical and chemical properties. That's what I told. First, you should learn what are the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals, and then you can distinguish or separate them easily. So you can see here the figure: brass, aluminium, cast iron, copper, steel, bronze, metal sludge, all these things. But if I am asking you to separate, suddenly sometime you will get confused. So first you should learn what are the physical properties. So what are the physical properties of metals and non-metals? You know that the shape of the iron nail and the aluminium wire change on beating. You take one iron nail or aluminium wire, you are keep on beating or hitting, you can see that its shape will change. If they were beaten harder, this could be changed into sheets. Okay, you are keep on hitting or beating with a hammer or something, you think, you can see that it will change into sheets. You might be familiar with the silver foil used for decorating sweets. Same like you must also be familiar with the aluminum foil used for wrapping food. How does it look? It looks like a sheets, thin sheets. Okay. So it is aluminum. It's a metal, but it's in the form of sheet. Clear? Excuse me. The property of metals by which they can be beaten into thin sheets is called malleability. So what is meant by malleability? The property of, it is one of the property of metal by which they can be beaten into thin sheets is called malleability. This is a characteristic property of metals. This is one of the characteristic property of metals. As you must have noticed, materials like coal and pencil lead do not show this property. So if you are taking non-metals, examples they given pencil lead, you know what is pencil lead? Then coal. These are non-metal, they do not show these properties. This property, malleability, this property it won't show. Clear? So what is the use of the coal? Coal mainly we are used for, the most significant uses of coal are in electric generation, steel production, cement manufacturing, and as a liquid fuel. Okay, so different types of coal have different uses. Steam coal, it is also known as thermal coal, is mainly used in power generation. So what are the uses of coal? Electricity generation, steel production, cement manufacturing. These are the main uses of coal. Clear? So here the one activity is given. Activity 1, take a small iron nail and a coal piece of thick aluminum wire and a pencil lead. So we are taking 4 things: iron nail, coal piece, and a piece of thick aluminum wire and a pencil lead. Beat the iron nail with a hammer. Try to hit hard. Okay, you are keep on hitting harder. Hit hard also the aluminum wire. Then repeat the same kind of treatment on the coal piece and pencil lead. Record your observations. So what you can see, first you are taking 2 things. You can take iron nail and aluminum wire, you are keep on hitting on it By using hammer, you can see that it will become thin sheet. But at the same time, you can take coal piece and pencil it. You hit, what will happen? It will become powder. Clear? It will become powder. And the next, let us see what is observation. You saw that the shape of the iron nail and the aluminium wire changed on beating. If they were beaten harder, this could be changed into sheets. Clear? So that property is known as malleability. You might be familiar with silver foil used for decorating sweets. You must also be familiar with the aluminium foil used for wrapping food. These are the metals, but they are in the sheets form. That characteristic is known as malleability. The property of metals by which they can be beaten into thin sheet, this it is known as is called malleability. This is a characteristic property of metals. As you must have noticed, materials like coal and pencil lead do not show this property because they are not metals. Clear? So coal and pencil lead, they do not show, they will not, if you are hitting, keep on hitting or beaten, it will not become thin sheet. They will become powder. Okay, because they are not metals. Okay, they are not metals. Next one is conductivity. Conductivity means nothing but you would have heard the terms conductor and insulators. Conductor means they are the substances which allow the passage of heat and electricity. Insulators or poor conductors, they do not allow electricity or heat to pass through them. Okay, if you are taking any metal, you can tell it is a very good conductor. Iron nail or any metal rod. Instead of these two, you can take some plastic or wood or rubber or something. You can tell they are insulators because they do not allow electricity to or heat to pass through it. So one best example we can tell, if you are seeing the utensils, whatever metallic pans or utensils, pressure cooker, whatever we are using in kitchen, you can see that the handle is made up of wood. Okay, wherever we are holding, it is made up of wood or plastic or something, because we otherwise we will get hurt or we will get, our hand will burn, because this plastic, wood or rubber, all these are insulators. But at the same time, if you are touching that hot vessel, you will get that hotness, you will feel, because it is a conductor. Same like you think the one screwdriver, electrician, you use the screwdriver to test whether a current is there or not. You can see that one end the electrician is holding, that end is made up of plastic because it is insulator or poor conductor. So electrician will not get shock. But the other end you can see it will be made up of, it is made up of what? It is made up of metal. It means the current or electrons or current is passing through that. So that is conductor side. But opposite side is the insulator, plastic or whatever it may be, wood, that is insulator. Can you hold a hot metallic pan which is without a plastic or a wooden handle? No. And not get hurt? Perhaps not. Why? The reason I told just now, because wood or plastic, they are insulators. It will not allow the passage of heat. Try to list some other experiences in which a wooden or plastic handle protects you from being hurt while handling hot things. On the basis of these experiences, what can you say about the conduction of heat by wood and plastic? You must have seen an electrician using his screwdriver. What kind of handle does it have? I told the screwdriver, wherever we are holding or electrician is holding, that is plastic, because it will not allow the passage of current. So we will not get shock. That is insulator. Clear? But the other end, it will be conductor. Then what is activity 2? You can see here one complete circuit. There is a battery or cell, then bulb, then wires, and what is a iron nail. This iron nail is a metal, so obviously it is allowing the electricity to pass through it and the circuit will complete. It's a complete path and the bulb will glow. Instead of iron nail, just you remove the iron nail, you can use some wooden scale or a plastic scale or some eraser or something you fix there. You can see that current will not flow because they are insulators and the bulb will not glow. Clear? So you know how to make an electric circuit to test whether electricity can pass through an object or not. You might have performed the activity with various objects. Now repeat the activity with the materials, observe and group this material into good conductors and poor conductors. So that's the reason I told iron nail, you can tell it is a good conductor because it will allow the passage of electricity or heat. and the path, it is a complete circuit and the bulb will glow. Instead of iron nail, you remove the iron nail and you can use some wooden scale or plastic scale or some eraser. You can see that bulb will not glow. The reason is they are insulators. It will not allow electricity to pass through them. They are known as insulators or poor conductors. Clear? Then, so what is observation? You observe that iron rod, nail and copper wire are good conductors. So copper wire, you would have seen that the cables through which electricity is passing, you can see that that outer part of the cable, that is rubber, but inside it is copper. Copper, because it is a metal, it is a good conductor. Clear? So iron rod, nail and copper wire are good conductors, while rolled sulfur piece and coal piece, they are poor conductors or insulators. Sulfur and coal, they are non-metals. They have the characteristics of non-metals, and also the flow of the electron is the electrons will not flow. The movement of the electron is known as electricity. You know what is meant by electricity or current? The movement of the electron. So here, the movement of the electron, the electron will not move much. Flow is very slow. So they are non-metals. Clear? While rolled sulfur piece and coal piece are poor conductors or insulators. Through this, we can come to know that which of the metals are poor conductors and which are good conductors. Okay, some are good conductors. Metals are mainly good conductors, but non-metals are poor conductors. Clear? Then what is meant by ductility? Ductility means, where do you find the use of aluminum and copper wires? Have you seen wires of coal? Definitely not. The property of metal by which it can be drawn into wires is called ductility. So that is the second characteristics of the metal. The property of metal by which it can be drawn into wires is called ductility. That's what I told. Copper wires we are using. The inside the cable you can see copper wires, because the metals we can make them into thin wires. That property is known as ductility. Next property of metal, that is sonorousness. What is meant by sonorousness? The things made of metals produce ringing sound when struck hard. Since metals produce ringing sounds, they are said to be sonorous. Have you seen wooden bells in temples? Can you give reason? Yes, because the wooden bells, it will not give sound. So we cannot use. So sonorousness is one of the property of metals. When take to steel plates or spoons or aluminum vessels or something, you take to and hit each other or struck hard, you will get the sound. That is known as sonorousness. Clear? So metals produce ringing sound. They are said to be sonorousness. There is a reason they are asking one question: have you seen wooden bells in temples? No, because wood cannot make sound. We will use the metals. Metals can make sound. That is known as sonorousness. The next, after this, we learned many characters, properties for the metals now: malleability, ductility, sonorousness. Then let us see which are the other good conductors, all these. After performing the above activities, we can say that some materials are hard, lustrous, lustrous means shine, malleable, malleable means we can make into thin sheets, ductile, we can make into thin wires, sonorous, it gives sound, and good conductors, it allows the passage of heat or electricity. Okay, so all these are the properties. The material which generally passes these properties are called metals. So these are the properties of metals. So what are the properties? Hardness, lustrous, malleable, ductile, sonorous, good conductors of heat and electricity. So these materials are known as metals. The examples of metals are iron, copper, aluminum, calcium, magnesium, etc. In contrast, some other metals, we are going to see what are non-metals. In contrast, materials like coal and sulfur are soft and dull in appearance. They are soft, not hard. Dull in appearance, they will not shine. They are dull appearance. They break down into powdery mass on tapping with hammer. They are not sonorous and are poor conductors of heat and electricity. These materials are called non-metals. So these are the characteristics of non-metals. What are the characteristics? They are soft and dull in appearance. They break down into powdery mass on tapping with hammer. They are not sonorous. They are poor conductors of heat and electricity. These are the properties of non-metals. The examples of nonmetals are sulfur, carbon, oxygen, phosphorus, etc. So now you learned what are the physical properties of metals and nonmetals. Now easily you can identify or differentiate metals and nonmetals. Clear, children? Thank you.